All right. Um, let's start seated. So just come to any comfortable seat. If you want to sit up on some kind of prop or support, that might be nice. And if
And
you
if you
if it helps to close your eyes, you're welcome to close your eyes or you could keep them open. So notice which one helps you to turn your attention a little more inward. So in either case, whether your eyes are closed or your eyes are open, you can kind of settle your awareness, settle your gaze down in the middle of your chest. Almost like you're looking from the middle of the chest or sensing from the middle of the chest. And just notice your breath as it is without changing anything just yet, just noticing how it feels. Noticing as you breathe in where it seems to go, where the breath seems to move. If there's places in the body or along the spine that feel kind of stuck or held, you can just notice them. If there's places that feel extra spacious, you might notice that too. Just notice the places that feel pretty easy and soft. And those places that feel tight, you might picture like a river that's wanting to flow, but maybe there's a lot of like debris and mud or sand or something in the way. So there's a way to clear out that pathway, which would be like taking a pickaxe or a shovel or something and like slicing all of those rocks out of the way and clearing the way for that little stream to pass through. Hi, Richard. It's 4:44 for both of us. Yeah, I'm so happy that I'm home. We're just sitting and breathing and feeling where we feel like stuckness. And I was walking by like the creeks around here this morning with Chacha, and yeah, there's parts of the stream maybe that are like a little overcrowded with mud or rocks. But what happens to those? What happens is that, if there's a lot of rain, then more water flows through and stuff gets to moving. So it's just a kind of I thought a nice reflection of what might be happening in the body is those places that feel stuck. You could dig in there with like a shovel and clear out all the debris and get that stuff out of the way and forcefully kind of remove it. That might be the tendency that we have to like massage is awesome, but to like kind of work out that thing and like grab it and get rid of it, change it with some force. Or what I think actual like massage, like what Casey does and like what Justin does, like actual massage, it opens up the ability for energy to flow, right? It just helps more flow happen. So maybe already there's a place that feels kind of stuck. You can send your attention there. Imagine more energy flowing there. without adjusting or changing anything about your physical shape. You're just increasing attention, intending to increase prana flowing in that place. And notice if there's a change. There might be, there might not be. And we'll just open chanting. We'll chant Om. Just so you might bring your palms together at your chest. We'll inhale to Om. Inhaling. And then make your way to hands and knees, come to a tabletop, and just start moving through cows and cats with your own breath. And maybe keeping this image of a stream that is flowing in and around the spine. So as you're inhaling and bringing the heart forward, you can feel this space open up across the front of the spine. As you're exhaling and rounding the spine, arching the back, you could feel maybe the back of the spine sort of open, the tail tucking down, the neck releasing. And keep the breath moving. So there should be no points, at least for what we're looking at right now, there's no point where the breath is held. Sometimes we hold the breath on purpose, but a lot of times it's not on purpose. Accidental withholding of breath. So let the breath flow even more than the movement. The breath could even start the movement or start moving before the movement moves. Breath comes in and then the spine starts to move into cow pose. The breath starts to move out through the nose and then the spine follows, making a cat pose. Good, and then you can take this into a bigger movement. So as you exhale, instead of coming to cat pose, you'll round through cat pose to child's pose. So tuck the tail, puff up in between the shoulder blades, yeah, and all the way back to child's pose with a long exhalation. Good, inhale, come forward with a cow pose, a nice open chest. Exhale, rounding back to cat and then eventually child's pose. Yes. And this might feel different. Sometimes it feels like you're shifting the hips back to come to child's pose. I'd really like for you to round into child's pose. It's a slightly different feeling. And then as you inhale, the chest comes forward, you open up to cow pose. Yeah. You can play with, yeah, let the inhale come first. Inhale comes in and just let the spine follow as it will. And then rounding, majorly rounding back to come back to, yeah, to a cat pose. Nice. Or sorry, a child's pose. And then in child's pose, you can tuck your toes underneath you and let your feet open up, imagining that you could breathe through the soles of the feet. So imagine or feel more energy moving through the soles of your feet. More presence, more awareness, more life in the feet. And keeping your toes tucked, inhale up to a cow pose, opening the chest. And place your hands about a handprint in front of where they were, just a little forward. And start to press the ground down and forward, softening the fronts of the wrists. Then as you tuck your toes, or they're already tucked, but as you exhale, you can send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Nice. And the knees can be bent. If the knees are bent, it might be easier to feel this space in the low back. And then you can let your head relax. Let your head and neck relax. Hanging down. Just letting the bones of the neck find some space between them. You're not like You're not manipulating the bones of your neck. Sorry, I pictured like separating the bones of the neck with like your like actually like piecing them apart. That made me laugh. It was like, you know, those pre-made like cinnamon rolls or whatever, and they're all stuck together and you have to take them apart. It's not like that. It's more that you're just letting gravity take your neck and you're sending breath into the spine, the whole spine, letting space sort of appear. Yeah. And same with lying on your back. This is why I'm always trying to tell people to lie on their back. Because when you're lying on your back, you can just imagine this space, and somehow space can come. So then you'll walk your feet towards your hands. Oh, sorry, Megan. We were in downward facing dog, so we got. We're coming to a forward fold. However you want to come to a forward fold. Yeah, good. Walking your feet towards your hands. Richard, you're good where you are. What happened to your hand? What happened to your thumb? You cut your thumb.
I cut it shucking oysters.
Oof.
So that's why I can't put pressure on it.
Yeah, don't. Oh, I love oysters, but they're dangerous, aren't they? Good. You're hanging out, forward bend. Just letting the whole spine, again, letting the whole spine relax and release. Inhale, come halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, fold the rest of the way down. Good. Inhale, reach the arms forward and bring yourself all the way up. So you're reaching up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, just softly lower the hands down. They're just coming to Samastiti, equal standing pose. The arms down by the sides. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold all the way down. Uttanasana, bending your knees as you go down. Now keep your knees slightly bent. Inhale, come halfway up, reaching your arms out in front of you. So your arms are along your ears and you're halfway up. Yeah, keeping the knees bent can help find a little more support. Exhale, release down into the fold. This is, I just want to name, it's a lot in the back. So if your back is sensitive, you don't have to reach your arms overhead. Okay, it's like more challenging. You're adding more weight. But you can try it. Inhale, come halfway up, reaching your arms in front of you alongside your ears. And then exhale, fold down again. In this forward bend, you can let the whole spine relax. Let the head hang down. Good. Then you'll bend your knees a lot. Inhale, come into Utkatasana. So you'll press into both feet, reach your arms up, maybe alongside your ears if that's okay, and open the chest with your knees really bent. So you're in like a little, yeah, good, Rachel. As much of a bend in the knees as you want. And then exhale, on an exhale, you'll fold down. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Letting the head and neck relax. Inhale, come all the way up by reaching your arms alongside your ears. Spine is long, come all the way up. And then exhale, just your arms down by your sides. And feel this openness, lightness, brightness in the chest. Maybe a little bit more awareness of your back body as it's, you know, having to work a little bit, the back muscles. Good. Just maybe one more time through this sequence. Inhale, reaching up, opening the whole front body. Exhale, folding down, Uttanasana, standing forward bend with the knees bent. Now you'll inhale and come halfway up, maybe reaching your arms alongside your ears. You can keep a slight bend in your knees. Stay a little lower, Megan. Like more like a, yeah. And then exhale, fold down. Yes, letting the head go. Then you'll inhale, bend to your knees a lot and let the chest come forward into Utkatasana, chair pose. So the heart comes forward, the knees are bent, the feet are grounded. Yeah, and then exhale to fold. Good. And then you'll inhale, come halfway up one more time. Ardha Uttanasana. Maybe reaching forward. Good, Richard. Yeah. Exhale, fold. Releasing any effort there. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, lower just the hands down. And notice whatever you notice. Good. Now step your feet wide. So you might turn to the side. And have your feet parallel. So all of your toes are facing the same direction. And let's inhale, bring the arms out wide, opening the chest. Exhale here, just feeling how wide you can be. So notice if, as you reach your arms out, are you pushing your chest forward or pushing your butt back? Let it all be very, like you could slide into a crack between two walls or something. And then you'll bring your right hand to your hip and reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. And just get very, very tall. Yeah. And then as you exhale, you could side bend a little bit, but your hand is on your hip to make sure that your hips aren't going one way. It's not that you're pushing your hips to one direction, and it's more that you're side bending around the middle of the abdomen, like right at your rib cage. That's where the side bend is happening. The hip stays where it is. So exhaling, coming as far over as it as it goes, and then inhale, come back to center, and exhale your arms down, very sides. And just pause for a moment and feel the two sides. Notice whatever you notice. Good. Inhale, widen the arms. And then you can bring your other hand to your hip. Inhale this arm, tall, 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 getting tall through both sides. Then you'll exhale and side bend, the true side bend right there at the ribs. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, both arms down by your sides. So there's the moment where you're side bending, right? And then there's a moment after when you straighten back out and you might feel some kind of change in the flow from side to side. Maybe. This time we'll stay for a breath. We might have on that side too. I don't know. But inhale. Sometimes I talk too much and then I'm like, oh, we've been there for a few breaths. Reach the one arm up. Exhale into the side bend. And inhale here. Brightness in the chest, a little lift, a little space. Exhale here. A little side bend. And then you'll inhale to come up. And exhale, lower your arms down. And take a pause here. It's important to take that breath with neutral just for like to orient to what just happened, even if it's a small movement like this. So inhale, widen the arms. Bring the other arm up towards the ceiling. Bring the other hand to the hip. Inhale, stretch tall. Exhale, side bend. As far as makes sense, inhale here. Exhale, side bend. Yeah, and then inhale to come up. Exhale, lower the arms down and take a breath. Good. Now, if you want, you could make this a little more dramatic. Sorry, I haven't really worked out where the space. Oh God, what a mess. Okay, nobody judge me, all right? I haven't really worked out what kind of space we have in this room. Okay, that's not bad. So you'll have your wide stance. This time for me, I kind of like to turn my toes out just the way that my knees be working. So you could turn this toe out. And as you exhale, you'll side bend again, right from the side, but you might come all the way down to the ground. This pinky toe of the other foot is pressing down into the mat. You could bring your hand to a block too on the outside of the leg, I think is technically what we're supposed to be doing. Then you'll inhale to come up. Well, just take this stuff out of the way. I want to do this too, so we're all going to do it together. So wide stance. You'll inhale, widen the arms. Sorry, I'm headless. Then you'll maybe turn your right foot toes out. As you exhale, you'll side bend and bend this right knee, coming into a Parshva a side angle pose, maybe reaching up and overhead with the top arm. Yep. Inhale to come up, straightening the leg. And if that's like too much or not necessary right now, you can do the same side bend. This is great. It's the same action. Do you feel it's the same action? It's just like more stuff going on. So let's try it again. Inhale, open the arms. Bring the foot maybe to point towards the short end of the mat. Exhale to side bend. Whoop. Exhaling the whole way down. Inhaling to come up. Good. And exhale, lower the arms. This time we'll stay for a breath. So you'll inhale, the arms open. Exhale, side bending. Inhale here. Feel the chest is open. The shoulders are relaxed. The head is somewhere comfortable. You could look down towards the ground. And after a full inhale and exhale, on an inhale, you'll come up. And exhale, lower the arms. Good. And then bring just your feet back parallel. Maybe take a moment. You could even step your feet together and just notice whatever you notice. Good. Then you'll take the feet wide once again. Your feet wide. This time, if it's, I don't know, this feels better. This is fine with your feet parallel, but it makes the rest of my body do funky things. Like my knees they're like, what? And then my neck starts doing weird stuff. So I like to turn the toe out just to make everything in the lower body feel like it's gonna be okay. Inhale, widen the arms. Exhale, side bending, bending the knee. Bring your hand down to a block or the floor. Inhale, coming right back up. Straightening the leg and lowering the arms. Exhale. Inhale, widen the arms. Exhale, using the whole breath to come down. Inhale to come up. Following your own breath, exhale, full exhalation, floating the arms down. Really good. And then inhale, coming up. Maybe this time you stay for a breath or two. Reaching up towards the ceiling, relaxing your shoulders. Pressing into the pinky toe side of the other foot. And then you'll, on an inhale, come up. Exhale, lower your arms. Good. And then turn all of your toes either slightly out or parallel. Whatever's more comfortable for you. I would say parallel might be nice. Just kind of like get a different rotation going on. But you'll bring your hands to your hips. And then again, without pushing the pelvis forward, you're just going to reach the elbows back. Yeah. And notice if it's like, notice when your elbows are just side to side. This is where the pelvis is. It's all good. Soft bend in the knees, all very chill. Then the second you push the elbows back, like the chest goes out, and just notice any of those adjustments that happen. You're reaching the elbows back just to kind of bring the shoulder blades together, open the chest a little more dramatically. And then as you exhale, you'll fold forward into a standing forward bend here. And then you could bring your hands down to the ground. Hands are there just really for support. You're not really putting a lot of weight. You can bring them out to the sides so that they're kind of like near your, hi, mama. Maddie, look. This is the first thing I did when I got home. Decked out. Anderson's house is decked out. Okay, good. Yeah, you're just hanging here. Good. Yeah. And again, the spine, now both sides of the spine are totally free to hang, and energy can flow through the whole spine. So maybe if like trying to push yourself into more of a foldy fold, trying to bring your chest closer to your legs. That might be, because it feels good to like get a little more intense of a stretch. It feels kind of nice. But can it be like an okay stretch, a good stretch? But really it's the breath that's moving that's gonna allow that to be cleared out. Right. Good. And then when it's a good time, you can come halfway up maybe and bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up and step your feet back together. And just notice. Good. And then turn back towards the front of your space. Yeah. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold all the way down and plant your hands on the ground. In a moment, we'll step back to a lunge. So, Richard, you can do that without too much weight in your hands. You'll step the right foot way back. And then you can bring the back knee down. Yeah. So you're in a low crescent lunge with the right foot back, left foot forward, I think. Yeah. And you can bring your hands to your torso. You can bring your hands to your front leg, whatever feels nice. And just have your hands down by your sides. And have your palms facing the back of the room. And then as you inhale, just turn your palms to the front of the room. And then relax your palms back towards the back of the room. This stance in the legs can be as dramatic for the hip flexor as you want, as whatever feels nice. But breath is flowing easily. As you inhale, open the palms. And as you exhale, you'll just rotate your palms back to face the back of the room. Just do this a couple of times. If you want, as you turn the palms, you can widen the arms a little bit too. This is a small movement, but just notice all of these little kind of changes. You can also do this on the floor if you want. You can have the palms on the ground. This is actually how I first explored this. Palms on the ground, and then you just open the palms up towards the ceiling. And if you want, you can kind of slide your palms on the ground a little bit up to shoulder level and then exhale them back down. But there's the movement of the arms like away from you, and there's also the rotation of the arms. And then if you're on the ground, you can kind of feel it in your shoulders too. Feel what's happening in your shoulders. Good. And then those of us in this lunge, we can turn this into like a big circle, opening up and coming around. Reaching out and back, feeling the thumbs reach up towards the ceiling. Feeling the shoulder blades kind of come apart a little bit as you reach forward. Then you can go the other way, reaching forward, turning the palms out, and then turn the thumbs down as they come back around. So you can kind of be like, thumbs up, this rocks as you come through the front, and then you're like, boo, down through the back. You can think about it like that. Maybe one more time. Good. And then you can shift your hips back, turn your left foot toes up towards the ceiling, stretching into the back of the left leg. And you can just let the head be relaxed. Let your hip kind of reach towards the back of the back wall. And feel all of this, stretch not through the back, just through the back leg, but also through like the back body as well. You might feel a little as you reach the hip back. Can sometimes even translate like up into the shoulders even. Yeah. Good. And then you can press into your hands and bend into your front knee. And use your hands to tuck your back foot toes, lift your back knee. Press into your hands, come back to downward dog. Letting both sides return. Just hanging. And then walk your feet towards your hands. Here you could grab opposite elbows and just let yourself dangle. Yeah. That was so smooth, Richard. I feel like you didn't even move your feet. Wait, how'd you do that? Just hang out here while I do what you just did. I like that. What the hell? You sat up. That's so cool. Yay. So here you are. Then you'll step your other foot way back. I think your left foot. You'll come into a low crescent lunge on this side. Again, finding the stance on this side that feels good, patting the knee if that's necessary, tucking the toes if you want or not. And bringing your hands down by your sides. Feel how your whole left side now is open. The front of the left hip, the left belly. And then you'll inhale and open up the palms towards the front of the room. And then exhale and just rotate them back. And if you want, they could rise away from your sides a little bit and then return. But let it come from the breath. Let it be with the breath. And any kind of tightness in the hip, which most of us have, that kind of tight sensation in the hip, let the breath flow into there. Like it's like a heavy rain that's going to let the stream flow more fully, more easily. Your breath, your attention is that water, that flow that will open up space. And then you could turn this into big arm circles, reaching up and around, noticing how not only you're rotating in your shoulder joint, but also you're rotating through your arm. Like your thumb is pointing in different directions, right? As you come around the circle. Notice how these multiple kinds of movements are happening at the same time. And you can play with like delaying when you turn the hand. You could see what happens if I keep my thumbs pointing one direction a little longer. There's a really, there's so many habitual ways, especially holding in the shoulders. Like these, even side to side, you might notice, I'm noticing right now a lot as you change directions to side to side, like one shoulder moves a lot differently than the other. You have one hand that's dominant. But even if you're like totally ambidextrous, like you probably still have habits of how you grab your bag and how you drive your car and all of these things. Notice how the whole shoulder girdle seems to. Mine are like strangers, like left and right shoulder. Like, what are you doing? Because I'm doing shoulder. Like, what are you up to? Good. And then you can turn your toes up towards your face. sinking back into Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. You could tuck your toes for stability or not. And as you reach your hip back in space, you can feel this kind of extension all the way through the back of the leg, through the back of your back. You can let your head be a part of it, your neck, your shoulder. If there's a tweaky little something something, sometimes it can be nice to almost turn this into a secret little twist by like looking over one side of your foot or the other. Let it be led by the breath, let it be gentle, but you could kind of peer over the left side or the right side of your foot and let it come into like the face and jaw a little bit. Yeah. Good. Nice. And then you can bend into your front knee, press into your hands, tuck your back foot toes and lift your back knee. And then using your flat palms, really strong on the ground, step back to down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Yeah, good. And walk your feet towards your hands, hang out over the legs. Maybe grab opposite elbows. Good. And then inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release the rest of the way down, just hanging down. Inhale, come all the way up on an inhalation, opening the chest, maybe reaching your arms. Exhale, release your arms down by your sides. Great. Now I'd love to do a few little twists. The first will be a standing twist. So take that wide stance again, this time with your both feet turned slightly out. Yeah. You'll inhale, widen your arms. As you exhale, bend your right knee and twist towards your right knee. So you'll bend your right knee and bring your hand somewhere on your leg. You'll bend that knee and bring, to the knee. Again, you're not like pushing or bearing weight or anything. If you get down to the shin, that's cool. You could get down to the floor, whatever. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, lower both arms. This movement I just think is so genius and so epic because you'll notice it's very like, it's not a super twisty twist. It's like kind of on the low, like it's kind of sneaky what it does, because I think it opens up more space for breath to move, actually, more than twisting the spine super dramatically. So notice you'll inhale, be wide, be tall. You'll exhale and twist to one direction. And feel how your spine is still nice and long in your twist. You're kind of forward bending at the same time. Then you'll inhale, come back to center. Exhale, just lower your arms to the sides. Use a whole new inhalation to open up. Exhale, twisting. To any degree, doesn't really matter. Inhale, come back. And then exhale, lower the arms. Now the key is using your whole breath to make the movement happen. So as you exhale, keep exhaling, 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 exhaling. Then when it's time to inhale, you'll come up. Exhale, slowly lower the arms. Inhale, widen the arms. Exhaling, still exhaling, still exhaling, still exhaling, still exhaling, still exhaling. Inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, lower the arms. Now we'll stay for a breath or two on each side. So you'll inhale, widen the arms. Exhale with that long spine. You're kind of forward folding and twisting, using your whole exhale to get there. Then you'll stay for a breath. So inhale here. Feel the length in the spine from head to tail. Exhale, stay here. And inhale, come up. Let's just do one breath out first, I guess. Exhale, lower the arms down. Inhale, widening the arms. Exhale, twisting. Maybe letting the twist carry through the neck, through the whole spine. Stay here to inhale. Let the breath move into whatever space it can move into. Exhale here. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, lower the palms. This time we'll stay for 2 or 3 breaths. It's up to you. Inhale, widen. Exhale, twisting, using the whole exhalation. Then once you're here, you'll inhale. And exhale. Then you'll inhale again. And exhale again. You could spend another breath down here if you want, or on an inhale, pick an inhale, and inhale, you'll come up. With your exhalation, you'll lower your arms, and then you'll do the other side. Same thing, inhaling to open. Exhaling, slowly moving into the shape, bending your knee, coming down and forward and twisted. Take a breath or two here, full breaths in and out. And then on an inhale, you'll come up. Exhaling, lowering the arms. And then step your feet together. And we'll just meet in Samastitihi. Good. Good, good. And then just come to seated or kneeling. So you'll sit on your heels. And bring your hands to your lap and let your elbows be heavy, your shoulders going down your back. And then you'll reach your, your left hand back in space and reach your chin slightly forward. It's hard to describe, but you're reaching your chin kind of away from your arm. It's kind of like, to complete the gesture, I guess, you'd put your other hand over your brow and be like, oh, can't bear it. But you don't need that. That's just for decoration. But that's the kind of like vibe, is you're reaching back with one arm, you're reaching forward and kind of in the opposite direction with the chin. And you're just breathing. You can actually let your face relax and your jaw fall open. And then my clown teacher would say to pet I had a clown professor, pet like a little kitten or a little chinchilla that's down on the ground behind you, just to like wiggle the fingers around. Yeah, and you're just letting the face fall open. Come back to center and just bring your palm back to your leg and let your shoulders be as they are. So this, I think, combines like both sort of methods for releasing. You're putting the body into a shape that's like maybe kind of intense and has a lot of sensation. You're stretching and you're breathing into that space, and that might be just like, the rainfall that lets the river flow more easily. It's kind of both. You're not like jamming the jaw and neck and shoulder open. You're just inviting them into this kind of funky shape and then breathing in the funky shape. It's the breathing that will kind of like soften the jaw tiny bit, maybe. And then you can do the same thing other side. So you'll reach back behind you, like, where's my little kitten? And then you reach forward with the chin, forward and kind of up. And then pet your little kitten or chinchilla that's behind you. You can find the angle that feels really like brutal, but also awesome for your chin. And let your jaw fall open, just let your lazy face. And think about how it, I mean, you might feel it if you really breathe into those muscles in the top of the shoulder and the jaw, and you imagine that you're sending breath there. There's like a spike in sensation. There's like that's a stretch when you breathe into it, which I think is kind of interesting. And then you can come back and just bring your hand to your lap. That's nice, Rachel. I like that too. You can even it out by just letting your chin drop down towards your chest. And notice how your shoulders are still on your back. You're not like coming into like a cat pose. You're just letting your chin drop towards your chest. And actually, the more that you kind of relax your shoulders down the back, the more you might kind of feel in and around the scapula. And finding the balance between like, ooh, I gotta stretch this to fix it, versus like, what happens if I breathe with my chin tucked, send breath into the muscles on the sides and back of my neck. Good. And then we'll come to a seated pose with the legs wide. Your legs will be wide. You'll turn your toes and your kneecaps up towards the ceiling. And it doesn't have to be a super wide straddle, it could be kind of more narrow. And then if you have like a pillow or something, you could bring it out in front of you if you want, or if you have like blocks that you can land onto, because we'll fold forward, and if you want like a little landing pad, you can create one for yourself. You'll take your feet wide. And first inhale and reach the arms up to feel both sides of the spine stretching. You can reach your arms into a V shape if that's nicer on the shoulders. Keeps the chest nice and open. And then you'll exhale and start to fold forward to any degree. And like just kind of propping yourself up on the arms and staying in a diagonal line is great. And coming down to forearms is also great. Coming to forearms on some kind of, that would be, I think, my ideal. It was too short. But for me today, like I would have this pillow. Yeah, that's good. So as you inhale, feel that your spine is long. And as you exhale, feel that you're folding from your hip sockets, right? Good. And then you'll inhale and come up. If you want, you could bring your arms up with you. So inhale to come out of the shape. Exhale, just lower your arms down by your sides. And take a breath. So we'll come into the shape. We'll do like a couple more times, maybe 3 times dynamically, and then we'll stay. That's all I'm going to say. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming down, very, very chill, wherever you land is great. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release the arms. You can feel that integrity through your legs, that structure through your legs. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale from the hip sockets, folding down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, lowering the arms. One more time. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, lower the arms. And then this time we'll stay. So you'll inhale. Exhale, find out where you land, like find the version of this that feels good. And then you'll stay for a few breaths. Each time you inhale, you can feel that space through the whole spine. Each time you exhale, you can feel your hips kind of moving back in space, your chest moving a little more forward in space, and this fold that's happening around the hip crease. And you can let your head and neck hang down too, or you can let your head kind of stay in line with the spine. That's nice because then energy can flow through a little more easily. But for, if you're holding a lot of tension in the neck, it might be nicer actually to release the head. And if you have a prop that can support your head, that's nice too, because then the head can like trust that it can release. Only if that's gonna already happening. If there seems to be a nearby spot to land, the head can rest. Otherwise, it just dangling down, that's nice too. So notice where you feel a lot of sensation or a lot of resistance. And see if you can actually breathe into that space. So if your energy body is like a stream that is hitting a pile of mud or twigs or something, there's suddenly more rainfall. There's suddenly more water rushing through, which clears the debris out of the way. And if there's a lot of debris, or like a lot of mud, and that doesn't want to flow or move, that's okay also. You're really only giving yourself as much as it feels like you can handle in a way. You're releasing to the extent that you're allowing your body to release itself to the extent that it feels safe and okay doing so. That's why pushing for a stretch isn't so great, because sometimes it can like backfire in a way. Like the body's like, I was holding there and that for a reason, and you freaked me out now, and now I don't not feeling great now. There can be more tension that follows. Just noticing whatever you notice. Chacha's like dreaming, but like has her eye open. Anyway, inhale, come halfway up or all the way up. Just coming to a seat. Good. And then come to lie down on your back with your feet flat on the floor. You good, dog? Okay. Oh, so good. Wild dog. So now with your back body on the ground, just take a little tour from your feet up through the rest of your body. Everything that's touching the floor, just notice it. And you're not adjusting it or changing it. You're just noticing how it has come to the floor, what it feels like to be there on the floor. And you might notice things like one foot is a lot further away from you than the other. That was just how they came to the floor. You might just notice that there's no need to adjust anything. Nothing is wrong. One hip might be kind of lifted away from the floor or hiked away from your ankles. There's so many things. One shoulder blade might be resisting the floor a little bit. And then you'll just feel the presence of the floor and invite each part of the body to release into the floor. You'll invite both sides to kind of reconcile and be even with one another. Good. And then on an exhalation, hug your right knee in towards your chest. Let your shoulders, as much as they can, still release to the ground. So you might hold the back of the hamstring if that's easier to catch a hold of. And keeping your back of the pelvis how it is, nice and even, you can start to extend the left leg long if you want. If as you start to extend the left leg long, sorry, the foot that's grounded on the floor, you can slide that heel along the ground. Yeah. And you can do that other thing too. You can extend the sole of the right leg up towards the ceiling. So in any of these steps along the way, just hugging the knee and extending the other leg, maybe keeping the left foot grounded and reaching the right leg up to the ceiling, or both, becoming like a letter T upside down. Any step along the way, if you notice that there's some kind of extra holding starting to happen, you can adjust. In other words, there's really no like goal shape here. You can feel into it in this similar way of like I've put my legs into this situation and now breath is moving in and around the hips and the spine is releasing into the floor and the whole system is adapting to being in this shape. How the pose unfolds is how the breath moves through this shape. Good. And then either with your left leg extended, or you might bring your left foot to the floor. You'll take a half happy baby with the right foot. So you can hold the pink or the big toe or the outer edge of the foot with the hand. And it might be nice to keep that left foot grounded and notice if the knee starts to like float away, bring the knee to point straight up towards the ceiling. And if you want, you could bring that leg long. So that's another option. So the right knee is bent and kind of out to the side. The left leg is straight with the knee pointing up towards the ceiling. Whether the leg is long or bent, the knee is pointing up towards the ceiling. And you can extend your other arm out to the side if you want for just like a counterweight. And then here, like, what an odd way to be. And you just allow a few breaths to come into those places that feel kind of tight. And you're not forcing yourself into any pose that would look a particular way from the outside. Feel your whole left side really heavy. I love what Rachel was just doing. Some little kind of like half circles of the knee. You could take your knee in your palm and do some half circles or some big circles. Yeah, good. And then exhale, bring both knees in towards your chest. Then bring both feet to the floor. Take a breath here. And then on an exhale, you'll hug your left knee in towards your chest, your other knee that you didn't do last time. And then same deal, you could slide the right heel long. You could keep the right heel on the ground, right foot on the ground. You could extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. You could do both. You're keeping the chest open and the shoulders grounded. That's smart to have treats by your side, to go throw them out of the way. That's smart. Maybe Megan can do that. Megan can get some Starbursts or some candy or something. Rachel's dog was like trying to make out and they just threw the treats like out of the way. Megan can do that with her kids. Just like throw a little cookie out. Just kidding. Okay, and then you'll come into a half happy baby on this side. And again, like no need to be so intense about this. Let it be kind of awkward. Let it be a testing kind of ground. You can extend the other leg. And let any kind of holding or tension just resolve on its own with breath. Let the right arm relax out to the side. And see if you can kind of feel this phenomenon I was noticing earlier with the jaw stretch. As I breathe into this tight hip or whatever it is that's feeling tight, as I send breath there, the ooh, this is kind of a stretch feeling, that kind of like tight but also awesome feeling, sort of intensifies for a moment as there's a more attention there. There's a little more life there. It's almost like holding your breath away from that place or holding your attention away from that place was just letting it keep on being tight or something. And then by breathing into it and sending your breath there, it's allowed to be how it is. It's allowed to be as kind of uncomfortable as it is for a moment. And swell and then dissolve. Good. Good. And then with an exhalation, you'll bring both knees in towards your chest. Nice. Then with your palms on your knees, like little paws, and your fingers pointing down towards your ankles, let your shoulders relax down to the ground. So you'll hold onto your knees and then you can make some circles around with your knees, rotating your sacrum, just letting your sacrum be massaged by the floor. You can move really slowly. You can let the knees you can let the elbows straighten as the knees go away from you. Yeah, you can make kind of like two opposing circles, one together circle. I'm just doing what feels nice and still moving with the breath. And see if you can take it a little slower. Yeah. Notice as you move slower, there's those sticky places might become even more obvious, right? You move a little slower and you're like, wait a second. Yeah. There are, patterns that we develop that are totally imperceptible, that are totally harmless, um, but that reverberate through the whole physical body. There's some like stuck place in the hip that just literally never moves because it doesn't have to. But it can be really incredible. This was Moshe Feldenkrais's work, was like, if I move this tiny movement in my wrist, like what does it do to my opposite, hip? There's all of these kind of amazing connections between. He did a lot with the head and, well, really everything. I rotate the arm slowly in these tiny movements, and you'll notice the breathing changes, your posture changes, everything changes. Good. So it's not that those holding patterns are bad, but they're creating effects. Yeah. And then you can hug your knees in one last time, hugging your knees in towards the chest. And then you can come to Shavasana, or if you prefer, you could take your feet together and your knees wide for Supta Baddha Konasana, if you prefer that. Another great pose for getting into a passive, pretty intense opening that is passive. So what are you doing here? You're not pushing your knees apart. Gravity is maybe taking your knees, but to if that's causing stress, you can always bring stuff under your knees and the pose still works on you. You're not pushing the hips open, you're just allowing the hips to be in this open position. You're sending breath into that new opening. So I think there's there's probably a lot of things you could feel after this pose. One of them might be like the muscular kind of effect of having your legs be stretched open for a period of time. The inner groins might be like sore or something because gravity is pulling your legs apart. But there's also maybe this sense of not soreness, but like spaciousness that's a result of energy flowing through as this wide open space. Like, why is it that the breathing seems to change? You can open your arms up also to kind of bring your palms up towards the ceiling. This is a nice physical, but also energetic, even psychological kind of gesture, opening the palms out to the sides. Mm-hmm. Good. And you might contemplate that image of a creek or a stream that is overrun with debris, is very, maybe it's not rained a lot, it's been dry, there's a lot of buildup of dirt or rocks. You might feel those places in your body that feel kind of like there's a little gunk or something, a stuckness. And you can imagine that flowing from head to toe and toe to head. It flows in both directions, this river. There's a surge of water flowing now through the river, both directions, this clearing and cleansing. And this water, this flow of the stream is riding on your breath and is clearing out the debris, or it's so strong and so full of life that it doesn't really matter. It can just kind of slide over those rocks that are in the way. It doesn't even matter. That's okay. You're welcome to I'm happy you're here. We do some hatha yoga before the lecture, so you can hang out, meditate, stick around. Yeah. At any point, you can change to shavasana if you want, or you could come to just resting with your feet flat on the floor and your knees bent, or you can stay in this Supta Baddha Konasana. Nice. And then you can roll over onto your right side and pause there for a couple of breaths. So as you roll onto your right side, your left nostril is on top, and there's a little compression on your right side, which um, helps further open up this left nostril. So it's cool. This image of a river or a stream, the body really does have it has these nadis, which are like streams, currents through the body. So this current that runs through the left nostril is cooling, generally associated with relaxation, those processes. Whereas the right side is a little bit more fiery, a little more active. And then you can use your hands to press yourself up to a seat. Any comfortable seat. And sitting up tall with the spine long. And if you're, well, you guys familiar with Ujjayi pranayama? Breathing in and out through the nose. I'll explain it anyway, just in case someone's watching isn't. Breathing in and out through the nose, but on the way in and the way out, there's a little stroking at the back of the throat. I was asking somebody out in a one-on-one, like, do you know Ujjayi? And they were like, is it the growl where you growl? And I was like, what kind of? It's a gentle kind of sound that you can hear at the back of the throat. Another way to kind of feel it is if you were fogging up a mirror, but with the lips closed. I think it's a little less harsh than that. You're just gently fogging up a mirror. Has that kind of pressure at the back of the throat. So we'll just take a few rounds, breathing in and out through the nose in this way. And see if you can make the in breath and the out breath an equal length. So you might breathe in for 6 counts, any tempo, and breathe out for 6 counts, any tempo. But it's same as the in breath. Yeah. So just try maybe 4 rounds like this, breathing in and out. And it should be a length that feels like it's not so much of a stretch or a stress. Feel your jaw getting tense, your eyebrows kind of getting tense. You can breathe for a quicker 6 counts, or count to 4 instead or something. Good. And then notice, this is optional. Of course, everything has been optional, but this is super optional. At the top of the inhalation, you might suspend for just a second. And at the bottom in the exhalation, too, there might be a moment to suspend for just a second. So you'll breathe in for 4 counts, for example. And then at the top, you'll just wait before you exhale for 4 counts. If it feels like a grabbing or a holding or a clenching, have a shorter pause or don't pause at all. And I like to feel that pause on the top and the bottom, this pause kind of resting in the center of the torso. This lightness at the top of the inhale, maybe in the chest, is kind of waiting for the exhale. At the bottom of the exhalation, maybe in the belly, there's a kind of sense of like emptiness, hollowness, settledness before the inhalation comes in. Good. And then just ditch the pauses, come back to just equal in and out breath. No pauses. And see if you feel any change after playing with the pauses. Kumbhaka, the top and the bottom. Good. And then let your breath just return to a natural breathing without any pranayama, any control. Good. And take a moment to just notice whatever you feel now, however you feel now. And there's no way you are supposed to feel. So you can just be with what this is. And then we'll close with the chant. We'll chant Om together. So you can bring your palms together, bow your chin in towards your fingertips. I let people in who are joining. Y'all can chant with us. So we'll inhale and chant Om. Thank you to this ancient practice and all of its teachers and all of you for being here and practicing together. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, peace, peace. Peace be unto all beings. May our practices serve all beings. Thank you, guys.